Okay, well, here I go. I'm going to walk up to this protester here and the guy she's talking with and see if they'll let me talk to them or listen in on their conversation and record it. Find out what their opinions are on the matter. I don't know if I'll be welcome to join the conversation or not. Let's see.
Wiretapping thing under Bush, less than 100 people were ever wiretapped. 3 people were waterboarded. Do you know right now there's something like 12 million people being wiretapped by Obama?
And Guantanamo Bay hasn't been closed, so I'm not all that happy with my president.
How are we doing,
but
guys?
I like it better than
Good. Hey,
My name's CJ.
I'm
I just
Steve.
wanted to
Nice meeting you.
listen in on.
Sorry.
Karen, your name?
Karen, Steve Davis.
Steve, I hope
Nice to
you're
meet you.
the pilot when I fly, because I'm scared to fly.
How are you
all
doing?
do a good job. So. Good.
I'm kind of doing a report type thing on the gun culture in America. And I wanted
gun what?
The gun culture in America.
Oh, yeah.
And I was wondering if
And what's
it'd be
your
okay
culture?
for me to
Is
record
it
you.
guns or not guns?
Well, my opinion isn't what matters.
I want you to
'cause I'm not-
Photoshop me so I look skinny.
You already look great.
Thanks.
But what I was interested in knowing is, what with assault weapons.
I know.
What do you
Everybody
not
asks
like
me, what's
about
my definition of assault weapon?
Right.
I know there's no firm definition. When we had the ban that expired in 2004, there was a definition.
Okay.
And I don't even know what that was, but I guess I'm good with that.
It was arbitrary, and a lot of it was, is it black? Dead serious.
Yeah, I know,
The
and I,
Democrats,
like, okay,
Democrats
did
did
it-
this. They said,
Black's
is it black?
scary and has a
Is it
pistol
black?
grip.
Does it have a pistol grip? Does it have a ventilated
Yeah, I
cover
know.
on the barrel? I mean, it was arbitrary stuff by politicians who had never used the guns. I'm on the gun side. I'm not going to lie to you. But it was arbitrary stuff designed by politicians sitting around a conference table, most of whom had never handled a firearm.
Yeah, and most of whom were being supported in their re-election campaigns by a lot of gun manufacturers. And so I know the gun manufacturers, they just change it just a little bit, get around the ban. So I guess the answer to your question for me personally is I'd like to see weapons with the ability to shoot 5 shots or less. So I guess you don't have to ban the weapon if you ban the clip. I don't know.
So-
or if you confiscate all the high-capacity clips.
So you're thinking anything above 5 is a high capacity magazine?
Well, that would be my personal.
That's your
definition.
personal preference. Okay.
Yeah.
So
If you're asking me what I think is dangerous.
So if you take one of these assault style guns and only put a 5-round magazine in it, there's no difference between it and a regular hunting rifle.
No, I know there is no difference because you can pop the clip and you can shove it under 5-round clip and it lessens it.
And there's no difference between a regular hunting rifle because that's all the hunting rifle is too, is a semi-automatic rifle.
Right. I mean, I even don't like pump action shotguns.
Why not?
Because they're shitting scary.
Why?
Not only do you shoot the person, but you scare the shit out of them before you do it because you hear that chink chink.
So
But
In
it's
the-
good to scare an intruder. Though,
in the
isn't it?
terms of personal home defense,
My ex-husband went out. There were kids in our yard one night when we were first married. Took his shotgun out and did the chink chink because the kids were wandering around the yard. They took off, but wow, you're going to take a gun out with kids because they're on your front lawn, please.
well, no,
So,
that's
see,
one
that's where
thing.
we differ.
That's wrong. But when you're protecting your home and your property from an
Well, I know.
somebody that's breaking in.
I understand
But-
that if you are
So what kind of
afraid
what kind
for
of
your
shotgun?
property and your family,
What kind of shotgun would be okay?
Well, I don't know anything about shotguns.
Well, you got bolt action, you got semi-auto, and you got pump.
Well, I'd say maybe the one that does the minimum amount of damage just to, wound but not kill the perpetrator.
Okay. Well, what about the people that live out in the rural areas and do hunting with shotguns? What kind of shotgun should they use?
Shit, what do you shoot with shotguns?
Birds?
Birds.
Any kind of bird.
If you're a goose hunter,
Pheasant.
That's
duck
why they
hunter,
have a bunch of buckshot in them when you try and eat them.
and they use them for deer too, like back east with rifle
Yeah,
slugs,
with slugs.
things like that. You can get a single slug.
So do you think?
That's a tough one because it's hard to take down a bird with one shot.
So do you think that if assault weapons were banned, that the school shootings and all that would just go away?
I think they would diminish.
Okay.
Because
So say
and here's my grandmother, don't own a gun, don't know a lot about guns,
Right.
thinking.
okay.
If the kids at Columbine or the kid at Sandy Hook had walked into the school with a weapon that wasn't so effective, maybe the principal and the teachers who lunged at him, maybe 3 out of the 5 would have been wounded or killed, but maybe 1 could have taken him down.
What if one of those
wrestled him
teachers had
down.
had a gun?
If one of
Wow.
the teachers were armed.
You got a gun, me got a gun, we all got
Well,
guns.
I-
Then how are you
Well-
going to protect? How are you going to protect daycare centers? Give daycare center teachers guns.
Yep.
Little league baseball games. We're going to have
Well,
armed
Again,
guards
I
there.
fly for an airline.
Oh, sorry.
I fly
You
for
have
an
to go?
airline. No.
Oh,
I
sorry.
fly for an airline. We had this problem a few years ago of massacres in the airlines. So what we did is we armed federal air marshals and put them
Yeah.
on the airplanes, and we armed the pilots.
And
I'm
I
one of the
understand
pilots.
that philosophy. You
So
don't
what-
know who's got a gun,
So
so
what
you
we
got to be
did,
careful.
yeah. So and you know what? We haven't had really problems since. People know that
Well, and
cockpits are
you,
armed.
and you
People
know,
know
we
that
do
there's.
have to take off our shoes and give up our liquids, and there's a big security process.
So,
that is also-
so would you
But
be?
it's also the threat of the deterrent of responsible people.
I
Good
understand,
guys carrying a weapon.
the deterrent, but where do you think the protection should stop then? Daycare centers, armed guards, soccer games, little league games,
Why
armed
not?
guards,
I'm
Broncos
for,
game,
I'm for
armed
allowing
guard.
anybody the amount of legitimate force necessary, up to and including
Absolutely.
lethal force, for them to protect themselves and their charges, whether that be their family or their preschool
So,
kids or
so
whatever.
let me ask you this. So
Whatever.
what do you see happening in Aurora if you had been in the audience, for instance?
I
To
might.
me, what I see is a shootout at Will Cake Corral. You got a gun, you got a gun, and I'm sitting there, and the guy in front of me shooting at me.
Would
and you're
that
shooting at
be
him.
preferable to just only the bad guy just shooting like shooting gallery style?
Depends on how many kids you kill.
Yeah, but what I mean is it better to only have the one-sided thing where the guy can just spray randomly with that, or is it better to have somebody who might be able to
But you're
lean
suggesting
between a
the
seat
only
and
way
take a
to
shot and
solve
stop
that
it?
problem is for everybody to have a gun.
I'm
I'm
not.
suggesting the way to solve that problem is there are no assault weapons available.
Who's
Okay.
using pistols?
That's all I'm suggesting.
Who's using
Do you
pistols?
do you think most of the criminals that use these guns are walking into this gun show and buying guns?
Absolutely not. I told him if I had a heart attack on the street here, every one of these guys in the cars would stop and help.
I invited her into the show, and I'm on the exact opposite side
Despite
as her.
the
Yeah.
signs that I'm holding, they would absolutely. Because these are people that want to buy guns. Because you know what? You, this guy in the car, they all have, I hate to use grandiose because that sounds negative, but they all have this kind of grandiose thing in them that wants to protect the innocent and wants to defend the innocent. And that's not a bad thing, that's a good thing.
Right.
It's
I'm
noble.
just
It's noble
suggesting.
to be
It's
responsible
noble.
for your own defense and the defense of your family.
And to protect the innocent.
And those,
Absolutely
and those
noble.
people in your care, whether they
That's
be airline passengers,
What
kindergartners.
we disagree on is
whatever.
how to most effectively do that and at what level of weapons should
So what do you think
American
of
be
gun-free
allowed?
zones? A school sticks a sign on the door that says this school is a gun-free zone.
No. I think we need to ban assault weapons and in 10, 12 years they will cease to exist because if you keep yours, it'll be in the basement because otherwise
if I
if
told
it
you-
surfaces, somebody will take it from
What
you
if I
and put
told
in
you that
jail.
that gun show right there is full of 100-year-old assault
Oh, I
rifles?
know. My husband has family. I don't want to
So-
take away your grandfather's shotgun that's been handed down. I understand.
Well, what about even old M1s from World War II? Right?
Well, I see. You're talking gun legal.
but
and I
it's
don't
just
understand
it's
that.
a rifle. It was a military rifle that Dianne
Can you
Feinstein.
still buy ammo for it and shoot people with it?
Well, absolutely. It uses the same ammo as a 30-06 hunting
sure
rifle.
does.
A lot of people use it for hunting, but it wasn't designed for that.
It's a military-style weapon, just as you're proposing is banned.
I'm just trying. I'm not trying to
I
gang
think
up on
I
you.
think
I'm just
police
trying to
and
get you to
I'm not
military
either.
think.
have guns, and we.
Just don't forget that this is a brief experiment. The U.S. is a brief experiment. It probably will be, like Ben Franklin said, consigned to the ash heap of other collapsed nations. Eventually, it probably will result in despotism. Those of us who are constitutionalists, who are responsible people, like a firearms instructor, an armed airline pilot, an armed Air Force pilot, we believe in keeping the ability of people like you to, if necessary, fend off a government that goes the way of Hitler, or that goes the way of Chavez, or that goes the way of Castro, or Ceausescu, or Yugoslavia.
Then the issue really becomes, does it not? Who to decide which president is worthy to be taken out?
Well, that issue will resolve itself when the people like in the
Do you all with
Declaration.
guns to defend your country get together and decide, okay, this guy we've had enough of him, so we're going to overthrow?
There'll be a
Maybe I
line.
don't want
There'll
you
be a
to.
line that's crossed at some
And what
point.
line would that be?
We don't know
Where's your
yet.
We don't
line?
know.
We don't know yet. In the 30s in Germany, the line got crossed, unfortunately, after 1935 by Adolf Hitler. Everybody knew what he was going to do, but in 1935, he set up a gun registry and confiscated all the guns. And you know what happened after that? He made it a federal crime to oppose him. And you know what? If you stood up and held signs like you're doing and everything, gangs of armed thugs showed up in your house in the middle of the night and carted you off. And they knew they could show up in your house in the middle of the night and take you because they know what they knew about you. You had been disarmed. You were on
You
a
guys aren't going to be disarmed. You're going to hide those assault weapons down in the basement when they're banned.
Some
so
Germans,
you'll still be armed.
some Germans did too, but you know what? They got shot anyway because people went into their homes and they were already outnumbered by homes around them that were disarmed. This stuff happens, is what I'm trying to say. It's less than one human lifetime ago. My mother-in-law was spirited out in Nazi Germany when Hitler was rising to power by her father, who worked at Opel there as a little girl. She remembers coming out of some of the Nazi stuff. Nobody in 1930 in Germany, if you had told them their country was going to go that way, they were just as free as you, out holding signs and doing this.
But again, my question to you, who decides? Do you have a leader?
Well,
No.
we as
Come
a
together and you
we
have
as
a
a
meeting?
people at some point, who decided when the revolutionaries decided? At Lexington and Concord. They saw, if you read the Declaration of Independence,
Okay,
a long train
do you
of...
understand my point that,
I do.
Okay, when, at what
At some
point
point
is
we
the line
will.
crossed?
You and me,
who
Karen,
decides?
right? It's Karen. At some point, me and you will get together and we'll decide too many lines have been crossed. Too much double taxation, and we'll go throw tea off of a boat in Boston
and that's
Harbor.
what is happening here today. I'm saying to
Right.
you,
But if we're unarmed-
respectfully, the line has been crossed. We need to scale back
Okay.
the number of bullets you can fire
But
into
in
the
the
bodies
future-
of 6-year-olds.
Okay, but nobody is building weapons with the intent of doing that, and we're talking
Right.
about a separate issue here.
Absolutely.
That's a canard. It's an evasion. What you're asking me is who decides when we decide to revolt against the government. Hopefully, it never happens in our lifetime.
You and I just said you and I will
But eventually,
decide.
if it did happen in our lifetime, you and I would, or our descendants would. right?
What if I didn't agree with you? And I didn't want
Only-
you to
only
take up arms in my defense and overthrow the government I elected.
Only about 10% of the people in the revolutionary times actually rose up and took arms and took care of the problem for the rest of the people.
So should I get my gun and then oppose you, and so we have another civil war?
We don't
It'll be
know
up
what's
to you. We don't know what's going to happen there. But at
Okay.
some point, a government transgresses enough. And unfortunately, what happened in Nazi Germany is the transgressions occurred after the confiscation, and so the people were very upset with Hitler, but they could do nothing about it.
But
So you know what we
here-
descended
here's
into
my
is
problem with this
the
line of
eradication of 6 million Jews
Here's
and
my,
the death of
my
80 million
problem with
people
this line of
worldwide.
thinking. We have come so far since Germany and the kind of people we are and the kind of thing we will tolerate. And you may be upset that we tolerate GPS and the government tracking us, but we're not tolerating the mass genocide of a religious group. You know, so I think I
Well,
give
we are
people
though.
in this
We are though.
country
You know, we're
more
funding
credit.
Hamas right now.
I
We
think
give billions of dollars to Hamas
Yes,
right
we
now.
do.
And in the Hamas charter, it says the eradication of the state of Israel, the Jewish state of Israel, in the charter. And I'm not making this up. Read the charter.
I understand.
In the Hamas charter,
I'm
and we give them several
for
billion dollars
everything
per
I
year,
say,
and they want
it's
to.
like you and I are trying to discuss our opposite religions.
No, I
and
know-
you're
I know-
trying to convince me that your religion is true, and I'm basically trying to say to you, I think my religion is true. There's no sense arguing these fine little points. I'm simply saying to you, in this free country, which you allowed me the freedom to speak, what my preference is, where the bar should be set for guns in this country, I'm here today saying I think the bar should be set at assault weapons.
Okay.
Whatever you and I and our representatives define as assault, we come together, we define what a reasonable definition is for assault weapon, and that's where we set the bar in this country. That's all I'm saying.
Okay.
Okay.
I
Well,
understand
guys,
where
it's
you're at.
I'm glad to talk to you guys, but I got to get back.
Yeah.
So.
I would gladly
Thank you
buy
very
your
much.
ticket to the show if you
No,
come in.
I'm happy.